Today we'll be going over Faxability Broadcast, how to create a new broadcast, and its features. What you'll see here on the right side is the broadcast client after you've logged in. Right now there are no broadcasts saved or previously sent, so it's all blank. What you'll see here on the top is the menu buttons, are all the green ones. What we'll be starting with here is the new button, so we'll click that. This will bring up the Create Broadcast screen, which puts it into 4 steps. The first step is Options, and you'll start with your broadcast name. By default, it'll be broadcast with the today's date and time. You can change this to whatever you like, so for now we'll do new broadcast. Number 1. The next field here you'll look at is the Q drop-down. The first one is Pause, which will pause your broadcast when you save this, so it will not send by default until you want it to. The drop-down, you can switch it to Scheduled, which will then send it as soon as the scheduled date here that you'll set in a couple fields here. The next one here you'll look at is the Priority. The priority only applies to any other broadcast that you have sending at the time. So by default it's normal. If you needed to send another broadcast before any other ones that we're sending out right now, you can set it to high or very high. And this will give this broadcast higher priority and send it out first before completing the other ones. So for now we'll set it to normal. The From field is pretty straightforward. It's from you or your company name, so we'll put in company here. Billing code is for your uses. If you need to use billing codes, you can enter your billing code here. The Start field is when you would like the broadcast to first start sending faxes. So the default will be today's date and time. You can manually enter it in here if you need to, or you can use the buttons on the right here, the calendar and the clock buttons here can change it for you. The retries number here is how many times you would like the broadcast to attempt each contact before failing out. The default is 3, but you can increase it or decrease it to whatever you like. Max simultaneous channels. That is how many times or how many faxes you would like the broadcast to send at once. So the default is 4. Once the first 4 faxes are complete, the broadcast will send the next batch of 4. You can increase or decrease this as well. Duplicates, this is default remove, so your broadcast will not send any faxes to any duplicate numbers. You can change this to allow if you need to. Allowed days and allowed hours, this is where you can set your broadcast to when you would like it to send. So the default is business days, Monday through Friday. It won't send Saturday and Sunday unless you want to check those. Allowed hours, the default is all day when it's unchecked. You can check it and set it to your business hours if you need to. Start time and end time. On completion, we have an option where you can send it to email you when the broadcast is complete. So that way you don't have to sit here on the screen and come back and check on it. It will email you with the completion status of every fax that you have sent out on that broadcast, which we will look at here in a little bit. So now that step 1 is done, you can go to step 2, which is the validation, which here you can see there is a do not fax list or an allow list. You can only use one or the other. So for now, we'll look at the do not fax list. Both of them are identical in their setup, just they operate differently. The do not fax list, you can add them manually by clicking the add button. The fax number, you would enter it in here. The approved date and the approved by are for your own reference, but it's for whoever put the number in here. So you put in your name and date and accept. So instead of adding manually, you can import a list of numbers to either the do not fax list or the allow list by clicking the import button. You can choose your file here up on the top. Here we have a do not fax list. We'll go ahead and import here. So the first thing you'll see is your entire list shown here. You would want to click validate here to make sure the numbers are valid numbers. It will send these to your fax server and test them against your validation rules. So as you can see, all 19 of these were valid numbers according to the fax server. If any of them were an invalid number or a duplicate number, you will see those counted down below. Also, we'll put that in the status screen on the left. After you're done, you would click import here, and it will add those to your list here. So after you're done with your do not fax list or your allow list, the next step will be the recipient list of who you would like to send to. As in the previous step, you can add them manually here. You can do your to and your fax number. For now, I'll just put in the same on both and accept, and it'll put it in here on the list. You can also import them as well. We have a list here we'll go ahead and use. I have a couple of numbers in here that are invalid or duplicate, so we can see that as well. So if you click validate now, as you can see, this is an invalid number. 911 is invalid, as that is disabled by default. International as well. You can see that this one is a duplicate because it's in there twice. And then these down here on the bottom are set to do not fax, as they are in the do not fax list that we uploaded a moment ago. And on the bottom you will see the overall status, so you don't have to scroll down your entire list. You can look at the bottom here. And then when you're done, you click import. So there's your list. So the next step after you've done with your recipient list is the content you would like to fax. So down here you will click add to attach the attachment of your fax. We have a TIFF here we would like to use. Just go ahead and click upload, and it is attached. So if you have made a mistake and you uploaded the wrong file, you can just select it, delete it, and upload the correct one. The download button does just that. It downloads the attachment you have selected. So if you have a previous broadcast you would like to verify what you sent out, you can select it and download the attachment to verify, or if you need to use it again. So after that, it is all done and set, ready to go and send your fax broadcast here. The last thing to do is to save and send your broadcast. By default, it is only going to save your broadcast. In order to send it right after this dialog, you do need to check this box to acknowledge that the broadcast is compliant with TCPA regulations. There is a link here to read up on that if you need that. So we'll go ahead and check this. And as you can see, the button changed to send broadcast. So we'll go ahead and hit send now. So now we'll actually see our broadcast here listed. On the top you'll see it's scheduled to go. Since the time was set to now, it's going to go ahead and start sending, as you can see down here in the bottom. On the right side you'll see the recipient details of each recipient that you select on the left. You can scroll down it and see the fax number, its status. If they are complete, you will see their completion status or error. The other tab here is the broadcast details of the entire broadcast. So you can look at it here, see what it was configured for. And then to the left of broadcast details, there's a refresh button that you can select and refresh the whole broadcast to see its current status. As you can see, the first 4 have completed, so we can select those. And in the recipient details, you will see that they were successful. The CSID, how long it took to send the fax, the speed if needed, and how many pages were sent. This screen will not automatically refresh, so you will have to click the refresh button to view anything if they have changed. Now that the broadcast is done, you will see the notification has come in on the left. If we open up that, we will see the list of recipients we have faxed to with their statuses and all the details on those. And on the top you will see the broadcast stats. So there were success 7 and 0 errors.